Good morning, it's Margitt from Ojo Caliente, New Mexico. Welcome to my first video. This is something that I've been called to do for a couple months now, and I figured why not now on my journey to Santa Fe, where I will be here for 7 weeks, 40 days and 40 nights, and all by myself. I made the trek over 3 days and I'm here safely, and I wanted to share my story with you. So last year, people asked me why are you going on this journey, and last year, October of 2018, I was feeling a little melancholy. It was the death of my dad's anniversary of death, and my daughter was getting into her senior year of high school, and she was very excited, and I knew this was going to be a big year. And I began to understand that the role of my motherhood is over. And next year she will be going to college, and this role that I identified so easily with mothering is going to be gone for how I know it. I still mother her and I mother my son, but more in a guidance counselor kind of way. But that physical piece of motherhood is over. And who am I now? And I'm having this transformation of this new identity. So I promised myself, I went for a walk last October, and I decided that once I got Ella situated and settled at school, that I was going to go on a journey. And it was a no-brainer that I was going to go to Sante Fe, New Mexico. This is the third time that I've been in this beautiful land of enchantment. The first time is when I woke up from a dream and I said the word Santa Fe. And I never been to Santa Fe, didn't really read about Santa Fe, but it was something that I was starting to research, and it sounded very, very intriguing. And 3 weeks later, I was on a plane to Albuquerque, New Mexico with my children, and it was just a trip that I did alone with them. My husband was traveling, and it was full of magic and mystery. It was just a lot of synchronicities. It was very easy, and to this day, they think it's one of the best trips that they've ever been on. And so it was a no-brainer that I was going to trek across the United States to come here. And it's a place where I feel at home. I feel very, very safe. And it's a place of magic for me. And so I know that there's something out here in the desert for me to find out about myself. So I have been confronted with tons of fear, especially the week before. The voices continued to get louder and louder. Those old tapes of, who do you think you are? Why can't you be happy and content? Why do you have to make waves? They were debilitating, and I remember them. And I really had to put them aside and figure out, I am doing this for me. And how I've come to this conclusion is not an easy one. A lot of my friends are like, how do you do that? How can you do that? What does your husband think? I could never do that. Why for so long? Aren't you going to be lonely? And yeah, I've considered all of those things. But in the last 7 to 8 years, I have been kind of down in the underground into the shadow world, where I was able to look at some of those voices in my head and those fears, and I was able to discover where they come from and put a kind of a silence to them. And it wasn't a choice where I was like, oh yeah, I'm in my 40s, I'm going to go take a trip down to the Shadowland. No, it was not it wasn't a choice at all. It was by awful pain and betrayal and abuse and health issues that really shadowed my world, and I was then just taken down into that darkness where I had to confront fears, and I had to find strength and courage to heal that and to illuminate. I was a mother of young children, and so I wanted it to be different for them and for myself. The fear of being in a burning building and dying there just wasn't an option. I had to jump. And I had to jump, and then it would come another opportunity where I had to jump. And it just seems like every time I would get up, I would be just blindsided again, and with all this fear, and I had to jump. And I knew that I couldn't die for myself or for my family. And so I had to face those fears. And I knew that by jumping through those fears, that all of a sudden I was landed on by these beautiful hands, and sometimes I was soaring, and I was finding the strength in that, and the power that I never knew that I had. Parts of me were being illuminated, and it was just this understanding that I was loved and that I was safe, and it was probably a feeling that I've never really had before. And so I was always caught, and it continued for me to go further deeper and further deeper and further deeper. And I also have this relationship with death in the underworld, were things I had to let go. I let go of the pain, I let go of the betrayal, I let go of physical pain, physical ailments. Had to look at my health and how I've been ignoring myself for all of these years, and really had to let that go and start to turn things around. And that's not easy. Death is not easy. Grief is not easy. It's a very, very powerful emotion to go through. So this was not very easy. In 2016, I felt like everything in my world fell apart. Everything was dying. My life as I know it was gone. Parts of my marriage were gone. My children were beginning to leave the home. My dad died. I was losing two of my best friends, moved away from my town. It was just death upon death. I would get up and get blindsided again. And with that experience, it showed me that with death, there is rebirth. And I was able to see that. There is no light without dark. There is no new dawn without the night. And through that experience and beginning to trust that experience, I was given opportunities for growth. And I was given opportunities to illuminate those parts of myself that were down, deep, deep down there, that I was able to pull out. And I uncovered different strengths that I didn't know I had, and courage, and love, and deep gratitude like never before, and hope. These were parts of that were missing from my life, especially the big ones of love and gratitude and hope. And so coming to Sante Fe, yeah, I got tons of fear. I'm driving through Kansas hoping, God, please just get me through the next town so I can fill up my gas tank. And then out of nowhere, I don't know how a text message gets to me, and there it is. Hey, how you doing? Love ya. And it's from my biggest cheerleaders, my soul sisters, my blood sisters, my husband, my family, and my friends. They're constantly supporting me through this whole thing. So I know if I jump, that I'm going to be held with such love and such safety. And they're not going to try to fix me. They're not going to give me advice. They're not going to judge me. They just love me for just being me. And so, yeah, this wasn't an easy decision. I'm going to drive across the United States to Sante Fe. But why not? I'm going into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. There's got to be something that I got to find, and I'm going to leave the rest of this shit here in the desert. So I'm looking back at the rear view mirror, and I see the last 49 years of my life, and I say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all of the pain. Thank you for all of the abuse and betrayal and neglect and abandonment. Thank you. And I see myself moving forward into these next 49 years for whatever they look like. And I see a new dawn. And I know that there will be all of that there, but I know that I will be able to jump, and I will be able to fight through fear, and I will be able to face death. And I will be okay. I will be loved and supported. And I want to say thank you to all of you who have just supported me along this journey. I couldn't have done it without you. You have, and if there's anyone out there that feels alone, you are never alone. Never alone. And let me tell you that. There's a short story I want to tell you before I go. A month before I left, there was a big rock that went into the center of my windshield, and it cracked, and it was like a starburst from side to side. And I knew that I had to get this fixed before I go on my trip. And I always ask questions for myself, like, oh, I wonder what this means, or man, isn't that interesting? And a great, great teacher who I love dearly taught me this. Just stay curious, curious like the child, and just continue to trust. And so I didn't get the answers right away, but as I was driving quietly one morning in Rochester, I got it. I'm getting a new lens. So whatever this experience is out here in the desert, I know that I have a new lens, and I might see new things, or I might see nothing at all. And it doesn't matter. It's part of my journey. I love you all, and I hope to see you next time. I would love to talk about my experience with grief, and at the end of the month in October, talking about Day of the Dead. I love you so much, and I hope to see you again soon. Love you.